their traditional livings, and they have to move through high mountains because sometimes some roads were closed for them, and they were forced to go over the mountains. And what was their role? They were bringing babies, they were bringing old people, and their role was to feed them, to find food, to the health care, whatever. So many big pressure over women had on during this war. Regarding the data, unfortunately it is a period where, out of which we have only oral stories, and we have limited number of official data of violence on women. And what is the problem? Even women sometimes it is very sensitive issue to even speak up about this violence, and the very rare cases, even limited cases, to go to the courts and discuss these issues. So we have limited data about the real violence, but we have lots of oral stories out of survived women, how they lived during this period. Now, I would like to move to another aspect of my presentation. This is the role of women in modern Georgian military service, modern Georgian politics, and other fields. First of all, I would like to start, we are discussing the resolution, and the main aim of the resolution, main message of the resolution is to increase the participation of women in peacekeeping and other kind of security issues, mainstreaming and promotion, peace and security. So what are the examples from Georgia? Georgia has participated in different NATO, even EU missions. It was mission in Kosovo, mission in Iraq, and it was, and the present mission in Afghanistan. And Georgian troops are one of the number, in the third position, the total number of Georgian troops deployed in Afghanistan at the moment. In 2013 there were 33 women participating in Afghan mission, and now according to 2016 estimate there are 13 women serving in the mission, out of which 4 are officers, 6 sergeant, 1 corporal, 1 private and 1 civilian. Part of them are medical staff, and part of them even patrolling or participating in different combats. So in total, in Georgia we don't have obligatory service for women to be in army, to serve for army, but we have 1,000 women at the moment serving for Georgian armed forces. Regarding patrol police, this slide I added later, because in our reality it was not practiced in previous years, but now we have a mixed patrol police when men and women are together patrolling, and quite successfully patrolling there. I can tell you my story. When police stops you, the first reaction is to negotiate with police and ask, maybe this time you will not fight, maybe we will do something. Actually, it is strongly prohibited in Georgia to negotiate with policemen. But there are some cases when a man stops you and says, okay, go, it was not very big problem. But you will never negotiate with women patrol, never. And it is well known that if someone is stopping you, no outcome, you should pay the fine. So, totally in Georgian Ministry of Internal Affairs, last estimates of third decade of 2016, there are 60% women serving. This is one of the interesting slides, and I would like to talk maybe here or maybe in the end of my presentation lots of about this slide. Participation of women in Georgian politics. So we discussed too much about participation of women in military services. I think heroism of women participating and bravely defending interests through military service is very good, but we also should not forget the women who are serving for not to have the battlefield, not to have war, to avoid the wars. This is another heroism, their service in politics, their service in diplomacy. So regarding Georgia's practice, in new cabinet that was appointed in 2016, we have 2 ministers, and one of the ministers is directly connected to the reconciliation and IDP issues and conflict resolution issues. This is the State Minister to Reconciliation and Civil Equity. And second one is Ministry of Justice. Both we are part of previous cabinet. They also remain their position now. And first Deputy Minister of the current Minister of Defense is also a woman. Regarding previous cabinet, there were much more women presented to talk about diplomacy. For example, from 2012 to 2015, we had 2 ministers of foreign affairs, women, and previous minister of defense was also women, and her first deputy minister was woman. This is, I decided to present here the women serving for Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Defense and ministers, mostly ministers. But to go to the different level, other level, for example, deputy ministers of other ministries, to go heads of departments, heads of units, heads of services, there is quite enough presence of women there, and I will analyze this. I only give you the facts and then analyze what is the result. In the Georgian parliament, the trend is rising from 6% to 15% now, and in other kind of services like National Security Council, 40% women presented, Ministry of Defense, 39% in high positions and the departments and staff. We have Geneva international discussions on the conflict resolutions of Georgia, international format of participating different stakeholders, and there was lots of recommendations to increase the number of women in this peaceful negotiating process, and at the moment we have 30% of women participating in these discussions, and incident prevention and response mechanism, 33% participating in this mission. So, what I wanted to say from out of this data, what is data is nothing without analysis, of course. In Georgia, we have different kind of objectives to achieve, and participating of women in these different kind of objectives is quite obvious and more than noticeable. I recall yesterday's presentation of Ms. Catherine, who was talking about the professionalism of women, and who was talking about the what is the idea to attract women in different services. This is the professionalism. And to see the Georgia's reality, we don't have any quotas in Georgia for women in politics, in parliament. There were some ideas, but at the moment no legal quotas exist in Georgia. But how we achieve this rising number of participating people? Maybe someone in my country will not agree with me, maybe will say that we need more women in parliament, we need more women, but even Catherine's presentation was quite interesting, but she said maybe we are going slowly, but we are going to the right direction. We don't need some artificial intervention to attract lots of women, to bring them. It is additional discrimination to bring someone to the position that they do not want to be there. For example, I am male. If you ask me to go to Afghan mission, I don't want to go there because it's not my intention. I'm male, still I can go, I have choice, but I don't want to do this. I want to do the job I'm doing. And as you see, females are also have the opportunity to choose their profession. Maybe mentally there exists, and I don't neglect this, there exists some kind of hidden or obvious obstacles for women in their career, political career. But I will bring my personal examples from my ministry which I'm serving for. It is Ministry of Environment. When I started work there, the minister was lady, the first deputy minister was lady, all heads of departments were ladies, and in addition, all heads of different services. And I'm head of unit, and all my colleagues are women from other units. In addition, lots of experts, specialists working, women specialists, and question arises, why we have so many women in this field? Because we have the professionals, good professionals, better than men. They proved to be better than men. Even the minister, the lady minister who was there, she was not member of any political party. When new winning party came to the power, they gave the post to the women without even membership of this political party, because of professionalism. And she started work in the Ministry of Environment from the lowest position and from the lowest specialist started, and during several years she became high specialist, became head of department, became the minister. So it's a good example how women's career can be successful. In addition, at the moment we have male minister, but out of 3 deputy ministers, 2 are females. Head of the department of my department. She's also female. What is the answer of this? The answer is that they are good specialists, I think, and they deserve the place. Maybe there exist some places where we have men because they are men. It can be also, I'm not neglecting, maybe it is also practical when some men are promoted because they are men, it helps them. But generally speaking, I think that the main solution of this problem is having better specialists, better professionals. I remember the previous Vesna's presentation, girl holding a book in her hands. I think that this is the really strongest weapon against everything, against all obstacles. All obstacles, women with a good knowledge, with good professionalism, smart. You don't know how we men really need smart, good partners, women partners in our job. This is not something additional. We are serving for one target. We have targets that is not women target and men target. These targets are the same. Better living, having secure society, having prosperous society, and this is target that should be achieved together with men cannot achieve this. And we have much more challenges now. Because, for example, to take example of my grandfathers, they were living when the world was not so globalized. In globalized world, we have additional global challenges. For example, climate issue we discussed about climate change. In climate change, Ministry of Environment is responsible for dealing with climate change. We have lots of women. This is also a security issue. It's not the sectorial issue. Climate change is really security, world security issue. And women are involved in this. Without involvement of professional women, we will not succeed, because I personally know lots of very good top specialists, women specialists who work in climate change issues. So I think this is very important of joint efforts and joint working in this direction. And in addition, I will not take your time, I will shortly say that in Georgia we have lots of private activities. NGO sector is quite active in this direction. And what is very important, this is public diplomacy. I remember during wartime when official diplomacy was quite weak. For example, there was time when Georgian mothers gathered together to meet mothers of Abkhazians, for example, who were at the time conflicts, and to discuss this issue. Mothers will go to mothers, and I will in the end show this in my end of slide. So we have at the moment lots of NGOs registered working in Georgia and quite successfully work in these directions, and lots of women are employed, and mostly we can say that in the NGO sector the most active part are women. If you see, for example, even in Parliament, I showed you there 15%. If you turn on TV, you will see quite active women participating in Parliament discussions. You will not even notice that they are only 50% out of 150 members of Parliament. So I think this is the way we are going, but we are going naturally, not artificially. Legal and strategic framework, I will be short. I will not take much of time about legal and strategic framework. In Georgia we have law on gender equality and the first national action plan on implementation of UN Security Council's resolutions, and this year we adopted the second national plan. And 2014 we adopted National Action Plan on Gender Equality 2014-2016. What is the main objective of this priority areas of all the strategic document? This is support to participation of women in security and peace building related matters, consideration of women's needs in conflict prevention, preventing sexual and gender-based violence against women. This is a summary of all these documents. In the conflict and post-conflict period, protection women affected by conflict, and I mentioned how many IDPs we have. We have even IDP settlements. Some IDPs, old IDPs, has already their own properties. IDPs from 2008, where they have a separate settlement and they are settled in one area and they really need additional help. So working gender sensitively on this direction is very important. Addressing special needs of women in conflict and post-conflict situation, this is the main idea of those strategic documents. And lastly, Georgia's response, why women in conflict resolution. It's more